Being a Rotarian is now even more rewarding. Rotary Global Rewards, our member benefit program, offers amazing ways to save. So Rotarians get more out of life and do what they do best. Give back. The good you do comes back to you. Rotary Global Rewards. Find out more at rotary.org/myrotary.
Good afternoon.
Catherine and Kim, I don't know if you remember me.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Rotary Club of Tulsa today. What a beautiful day. I was expecting rain and a cold front, and it's actually quite pleasant out there. So thank you for ignoring the weathermen once again and braving the perfect elements to come to Rotary. Let's take just a moment and turn and greet those we may not have seen before, especially those circle badges. Okay, we have a great program in store for you today, as usual, and let's go ahead and get started. So for our invocation this morning, we have Brian Talkington. Song and Pledge is Jerry Dillon, and visitor introductions is his twin brother, Jerry Dillon. If you will help me welcome for invocation, Brian.
Thank you, John. Bow your heads, please. God, I'm praying for all government and community leaders throughout our towns, cities, states, and nation. Save those who are not yet your own. Give those in authority wisdom in every decision, and help them to think clearly. Grant them discernment and common sense so they'll be strong and effective leaders. Help them to lead and govern with integrity, and may their integrity guide them and keep them on track. Be their defender and protector, and keep them always on guard. Help those who are of faith to be strong and courageous, standing firm in their faith and influencing ours for your kingdom. Encourage and strengthen them. Give them the wisdom they need. Help them to have courage and faith in you, no matter what they're facing day to day. Amen.
Be seated. Introduce our guest, and then we'll have our song and pledge. We're at Club 2500, and it's an incredible day for us to be here. Spring has sprung. We have Amanda Blackwell, who is a guest of Tom Roper. Rebecca, if you'd stand, please. And then Rebecca Jimenez, also a guest of Tom Roper. There they are. And then Austin Chadwick is a guest of Margaret Butler, and Margaret Butler is a guest of Jean Martin. That's Margaret's twin. And then we have Matt Moore as a guest of Andy Avila. I've got Cole Adamson with Rotaract. And then Kayla Kenyon, also with Rotaract. Andrew Ralston, a guest of Marlene of Avalda, is that correct? Abida? Close. Okay, and then Keith, then a longtime friend of all of us, great respect, Keith Ballard, guest of Bob Sade. Now, let's welcome them with a good applause. And we have one Rotarian who's a guest today, is Barbara Smallwood from Sunrise. Hi, Barbara. Now, let's stand and sing America the Beautiful. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jerry and Brian. We have one sponsor today. We'd like to recognize We Be Trees, Tim Nall. We appreciate your support and your service. I had Tim do some work in my yard the other day, and you just tell a Rotarian the address, and that's the end of that conversation, and you don't worry about it. It's been great. I'd like to highlight a few of our upcoming programs. On March the 29th, Rachel Pappy is going to talk to us about some unusual and strange cases before the IRS. I don't know what they are, but I hear it's unusual and strange, so that'll be interesting. We have Denise Reed from Mosaic and Workforce Tulsa. She's going to be talking about the power of inclusion and diversity. And on April the 12th, it's our annual exchange with Oklahoma City Club, so Mick Cornett will be here, the mayor, for our joint Oklahoma City-Tulsa meeting. So if any of you would like to be hosts or help make those Oklahoma City Rotarians welcome, get with Alicia Herrera and David Downing, and they'll put you to work. I'd like to ask Past President Matt Davis to come forward now for a memorial resolution for our past district governor and member, Don Rubottom.
I had the opportunity a few months ago to go see Don at Inverness, and when I got to his room, he wasn't in his bed, and they said, oh, we have a preschool visiting today at Inverness, and he's in the great room. So I went down to the great room, and I was used to Don as kind of this fairly serious person here in our club. Here sat Don wearing a clown's mask, and there were about 8 little kids crawling all over him, and he was laughing, and that's the way I like to remember him. Donald J. Don Rubottom was born September 29, 1926 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to George and Nellie Rubottom. He passed away on January 5, 2017 at the age of 90. Don was a graduate of Will Rogers High School and Oklahoma A&M University, where he was a member of Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity. He served in the United States Army from 1945 to 46. Don had a 50-year career in banking, beginning as a trust officer at First National Bank and establishing the trust department at Farmers and Merchants Bank. He founded the investment management firm Rubottom Dudash & Associates and later Southwest Venture Capital, Inc. He served on the National Board of Governors of the National Association of Small Business Investment Companies and was the 3rd Chartered Financial Analyst certified in Oklahoma. Don was an exemplary Rotarian and longtime member of the Rotary Club of Tulsa. In addition to being a Paul Harris Fellow, a Club Foundation Fellow, a TRF Major Donor, a special lifetime member of the club, and an MSNI ambassador, he was president of the club in 1988-89 and served as district governor of District 6110. His volunteering spirit extended to his church, Boston Avenue United Methodist, where he taught adult Sunday school for almost 40 years. In addition, he volunteered for Meals on Wheels and served on the RSVP Advisory Council. Don is survived by his beloved wife of more than 65 years, Wanda May, his daughters and sons-in-law, Renda and James Skaggs, Joy and Charles Sternad, Jill and John Richmond, his son and daughter-in-law, Don and Sally Rubottom, 16 grandchildren and 17 great-grandchildren. A memorial service celebrating Don's life was held on Tuesday, January 17, 2017 at Boston Avenue United Methodist Church. Therefore, be it resolved that the Rotary Club of Tulsa extends our deepest sympathy to Don's family and many friends. On behalf of the club, we ask that our membership vote this resolution's approval by standing and sharing a moment of silence.
Thank you very much, Matt. Again, I'm always awed during memorial resolutions of those that have been such pillars, not only in this club, but the community. And it's always a shame to learn that in a memorial resolution. So I would implore you to seek out those at your table, get to know them at a better level. There is so much heart in this club that we could share with each other. It is incredible. So I'd ask you to do that. I'd like to ask Jake Dollarhide and Will Smith to come forward at this time to introduce our newest Blue Badge members, and it's a YMCA corporate membership.
You know, Matt, you did a great job. Don Rubon was a great mentor of mine, and I loved him, and he'll be sorely missed. Will and I are pleased to introduce our newest corporate member to the club, the YMCA of Greater Tulsa. The executive member will be Susan Plank, CEO, and the active member will be Kyle Wilkes, VP of Mission Development. Susan, a former member of our club, as you all may recall, has been with the Tulsa Y for 17 years and the National YMCA for 35 years, while Kyle joins us and transfers in from the Southside Rotary Club in Tulsa, has been with the Tulsa Y for 10 years and nationally with the Y for 17 years. Will and I are board members of the YMCA of Greater Tulsa, and as a family membership card holder, I am proud that the Tulsa Y has been serving our community for over 100 years in Tulsa County. The Y has three pillars that drive their work: youth development, social responsibility, and healthy living, where personal and social change comes about when we all work together to strengthen our communities by working side by side with our neighbors to make sure that everyone, regardless of age, income, or background, has the opportunity to learn, grow, and strive. It is the Y cause that defines the organization and is open to all. The greatest and latest example of this mission, in my opinion, is last month's grand opening of the Tandy Family YMCA near 51st and Yale across from LaFortune Park, or what we all may recall as the Thornton Y. The $22 million 20-month construction project with a healthy table, nutrition kitchen, and the presence of OU sports medicine and physical therapy is a game changer for Tulsa, and it's an incredible facility. Susan and her husband Doug, or Plank, reside in Tulsa. Kyle and his wife Dana reside in Broken Arrow. They've got their badges, their pins, their four-way tests. Fellow Rotarians, please help me in welcoming back Susan and welcoming Kyle to our club.
Well, Susan, welcome back, and Kyle, welcome. I really do like the corporate membership. It lets us make deeper collaborations in the community, and we're very blessed to have the YMCA join that group for us. I'd like to get Gene Martin and Casey King. They have IBA Awards announcements, and I'll turn it over to them at this point in time. Is that a bow tie, Casey? It is. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the bow tie is in honor of Michael Burks, who set such a great example last year. I decided to bring it back. So, all right, thank you, President John. The club's major fundraiser for the Rotary Club of Tulsa Foundation kicked off on January 4th with the announcement of our keynote speakers, Shannon Miller and Chris Herron. Both have intriguing stories to share about the influence of sports on their lives and in giving back. Our MC that night, Chris Lincoln, is definitely going to keep us entertained throughout the evening. Today, we're recommending that if you haven't purchased your tickets or a table yet, that you step up. Or let us know if you know somebody who might be interested in attending that night. As you can see on the seating chart, 65% of the tables have been sold already. We have 64 individual tickets left, no reserve tables, 2 bronze tables, 2 silver tables, 7 silver tables with access to the VIP reception, and we have bids on 7 of the 18 gold tables. So if you've been waiting to bid on a gold table until you've heard who the additional celebrities are, then turn your attention to the screens now. So we are pleased to announce that joining us this year will be Billy Sims, 1975 Heisman Trophy winner from OU, a member of the College Football Hall of Fame and former NFL Detroit Lion. Jamel Holloway, 1985 national champion quarterback for OU and a former NFL Los Angeles Raiders player. Jamel was I wore number 4 all through school because of Jamel Holloway, so I'm really excited to see him here. Okay, next slide. Mike Rozier, 1983 Heisman Trophy winner from the University of Nebraska. Mike's a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, former player for the Houston Oilers and the Atlanta Falcons. And then the last announcement today, Uwe von Schaman, 1975 national champion kicker for OU, former Miami Dolphin. So we've got some great celebrities. So if you're looking for that gold table, we've only got a few celebrities left to go, but get your tables bids in now. Now to tell you more about this award program is Gene Martin, my co-chair.
Thank you, Casey. The number one reason the IBA Awards were created 24 years ago was to honor a female and male accomplished athlete who had shown by their actions a willingness to help others, because young women and men needed positive role models with whom they could identify. That holds true today. Thank you, Bob Linacher. Last year, the IBA committee added the High School Citizen Athlete Awards to help accomplish the goal of reaching more young people. This year's committee has taken that step much further. We have reached out to the athletic directors of all high schools within 60 miles of Tulsa with student populations of 250 plus, a total of 62 schools. Helping us tremendously have been Emily Barkley, Athletic Director for Union Public Schools, and Gil Cloud, the Director of Secondary Schools, Athletics and Activities for Tulsa Public Schools. Both Emily and Gil are guests today. Will you please stand so we may show you our appreciation? Not on my script is the moment that Casey and I realized that we and the committee members didn't have to travel to 62 schools. We got to 32 of those athletic directors with 3 meetings, and those 2 people made that possible. We are expecting 32 female and 32 male finalists in this year's High School Citizen Athlete Awards, and all 64 students will be our guests at the IBA Awards. From this impressive group, 1 female and 1 male recipient will be announced that night, and each will receive a $2,500 scholarship. All 64 students will receive a swag bag filled with autographed books by Shannon Miller and Chris Herron, plus additional gifts. More importantly, and the reason we did this, everyone will also have the opportunity to hear our message and the messages from our speakers and honorees about the importance of giving back. And the high school awards have a new name. In 2011, if you'll put the next slide up, please. In 2011, the Tulsa Sports Charities Organization created the Eddie Sutton Tustanugi Award to honor players who exhibit the traits of tenacity and unselfishness that Sutton advocated during his coaching career. The word Tustanugi means warrior in the language of the Muskogee Creek Nation. At a meeting with Gary Bartlett, co-founder of Tulsa Sports Charities, We agreed to carry on this tradition by adopting the award, which will be presented that night by coaches Sean Sutton and Scott Sutton on Coach Eddie Sutton's behalf to the two students. We have every reason to believe, as the announcement of, and the winner is, the Sutton sons will have the correct envelope, which will put us light years ahead of the Oscars. We are honored today that Gary is here for this announcement. Gary Bartlett, would you please stand? We would also like to thank Austin Chadwick, publisher of Vipe High School Sports Magazine, who has agreed to help publicize the Eddie Sutton Tuskegee Awards, and at a lunch meeting stressed the importance of using social media to reach out to our youth. Austin, will you please stand again so we may show our appreciation for your help? If you are not familiar with the Vipe magazine, copies of this month's magazine are on your table. From that luncheon with Austin, we have asked Rotarian Luann Buehlinger to kick off our social media campaign. To tell you more about it, here's Luann.
Thank you very much, and you can pull up that slide campaign. We are now on social media. We have several goals with our social media, and that is to reach out and make people excited about this event, but to also communicate with the 70% of adults who are now regularly on social media. Also, we are talking to the students in the Tulsa area because we want to show them the original goal of the IBO Awards is to be a fantastic athlete, but also to be a great corporate citizen. So what you're seeing on the slideshow is an example of our entire campaign. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. And we're already connecting with Shannon Miller. She's tweeting us, retweeting us, with Vipe and a number of other celebrities who will be at the event. But we have an opportunity for you to win some prizes. And if my model can come up here. Anybody who's a Rotary Club of Tulsa member who likes our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram page can win one of 5 awards as long as you like us before next Tuesday evening. First prize will be a ticket for 2 people to go to the celebrity reception at the Hard Rock up in the Sky Room before anything starts happening, and that's going to be a very exclusive opportunity. Our other 4 prizes will be the Hard Rock hoodie and a Hard Rock cooler, Yeti. So pull out your phones now if you can and follow us. And by the way, if you've already followed us, you're already entered to win. We have already had 5,000 reach with 200 engagements. And the important thing is if you wouldn't mind sharing the social media pages with your friends, because that will make them excited about the overall mission of the Rotary Club of Tulsa Foundation and the Henry P. Iba Citizen Athlete Awards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call Sarge up for a moment, Catherine DeCamp, and she's got some exciting news for us.
Do I have exciting news? I have slides. Slides
Oh,
are
okay.
always exciting.
Well, I thought you had some good stuff going on, but go ahead.
Okay. I'm feeling a little pressure now, okay? I'm sorry, guys. These are really great slides, but I don't have any. He's probably referring to a little bit of a Facebook post that he saw.
Little social media thing going on there.
Okay, I'm going to come clean. For those of you who are Facebook friends with me, or maybe with somebody else who was in this photo, I released a photo of 4 sergeant-at-arms who happened to be in a car together, and I was one of them. So somebody thought we were plotting and planning, and so he and a few presidents got together, to try to plot and plan. So I'm going to tell you why we were together, because I know you're dying to know.
We're going to win.
You're like a toddler, okay? You have no patience at all. But here's why we were together. A lot of you all don't know the pressure that's involved with being the Sergeant at Arms, okay? Hey, see, heckling. I get heckled, okay? People get heckled. So we've started a little support group. And so any of you former Sergeant at Arms who want to meet with us on occasion, there might be alcohol involved at times, feel free to contact me and we'll hook you up. So it was innocent. We're not plotting against you, John. It's a support group. Because of this important role that we play. We basically carry the meeting, okay? So,
I get it.
All right, so.
Some more than others.
All right, so with that, let us proceed with slides. Okay, we'll start out with Tony. You know, Tony was our card drawer a couple of weeks ago, and it was actually his birthday. Is Tony here today? See, he hides way at the back. Okay, so here's his slide. He gave me cash that day. He got to draw the card. Yes, you might be luckier if you give me cash before the drawing. I'm just going to throw that out there. So anyway, $50. Happy belated birthday. Okay, and here is my buddy, Jarl Johnson. I want you to look at that photograph. We were talking, and there are people who do read my emails, okay? There are a few people who read my emails. Well, when I sent out that last sort of plea for money, Jarl came up to me and he said, you know, I'll give you some money for my birthday. His birthday was several months ago. And I said, great, what picture do you want me to show? And he said, I've got one. And he said, you know, all of the other Rotarians who have been Rotarians for 20 or 30 years, they all have these photos of when they were, you know, young people, and they're showing. And he said, I joined Rotary later, so here's a picture of me. So this is him. Look at that handsome man. So, and I want to tell you a little secret about his birthday. I love knowing these little tidbits. He is a twin. If nobody in here knew that, he is a twin. But they were born on separate days. So just think about that for a few minutes. So happy belated birthday, Jarl, and thank you for your generous donation. Okay, Jane, where's Jane? Oh, she's not here. Okay, she slipped me some money last week and said, here's my birthday money, but happy birthday, Jane Carlson. We appreciate you. She'll see this on video. Okay, Jerry Emmons, where's Jerry? I'm just like glasses people. I can't, you have to like wave and do this kind of stuff. Okay, Jerry gave me $100 if I did not show his picture. And I said, brother, I am right there with you, okay? If anybody has seen my picture, horrible. But his is actually good. He's just being a little, you know, more sensitive, a little more sensitive. Rob, happy belated birthday. I kind of failed on this. This slide was supposed to show like right after the incredible, unbelievable, above and beyond award. I didn't get to show slides that day, or it would have shown that day. But anyway, so I failed. I'm so sorry, but happy belated birthday. Bravo on Above and Beyond. I guess I don't have to tell you where his $100 is going, right? Everybody's got that figured out, Above and Beyond. And also, Jerry Emmons went to Above and Beyond, so great program. Joe Moore, where's Joe? I know he's here because he put a big old check on my table. All right, so Joe, who got to get the book last week, he also has a brand new, beautiful baby, Joseph Vincent Moore, also known as Vince or J4. Now, Joe told me that this baby is perfect in every way, and he had to pay a big, big fine because he said that this happens to be the most beautiful baby basically ever born. So I appreciate that. I think this baby is lovely, but that's a challenge for you all. So all of you with grandchildren, send me a picture, pay me lots of money, and then we'll put a slide of your beautiful baby up there. So thank you, Joe. Okay, and Jane, where is Jane? There she is. Oh, this was another one that came in during Above and Beyond that I didn't get to show yet because that was a little bit closer to this very important anniversary. Her daughter, Anna, is 13 years cancer-free, and I can't talk too much or I'll start the whole ugly cry thing. So anyway, it warms my heart, and I know that Jane, this has got to be a big celebration every single year, every single minute of the day. You probably celebrate that Anna's here, and she's good. So thank you for that generous donation. Tom Allen, where's Tom? Oh, yeah, okay. I saw him earlier, but, like I said. Okay, Tom Allen is in the news all the time. A secret Rotarian sent me an email and said, dang, have you seen how many times Tom Allen has been in the newspaper? And I said, well, no. And he's like, okay, here. And so he started sending me stuff. I'll give you that name later for another $100. But he has been in the Tulsa world. He's like a doctor. Everybody knows that. But he has started being the official wrestling doctor for OSU. And so he's at all the games. He's like getting these guys ready and taking care of them and keeping them in great health. So thank you. Just Google him. Google Dr. Thomas Allen, and you'll see all of these things. So thank you so much. Okay, and Becky Sholin, where is she? Big hand, big wave. Is she not here today? Okay, Becky, happy 32nd anniversary. She said she's married to her wonderful husband, Jim. She said to let everybody know, though, that they actually got married while she was in grade school. That's how she could be married for 32 years. So that's out there. Jeff Johnson, and he's not here because he's going to be in California for 3 months. When I sent out my almost begging email for money, Jeff replied and said, hey, Sarge, you're doing a great job. I'm going to give you $200 and just do a slide, do whatever, tell everybody whatever you want to say. What I want to say is, what a great guy, okay? So if anybody, I will take pity money. I'm just going to tell you right now. Just feel free to give me pity money. $200 is a nice round number. Okay. And I just wanted to show this because I thought that was awesome. Isn't that pretty? I want one of those. If somebody buys me one of those, I'll pay a fine for it. So, any fines, birthdays, grandbabies, anything you want to pay me for, feel free to send me money. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine.
That was 2 weeks' worth, if you're wondering why I'm here so long.
And as always, a reminder to our guests, these are in fines. They're really contributions to our community fund, and they empower us to do works in the community. So thank you all. Kara Gail Neal was our Rotarian of the Day today, but Kara had a family emergency and had to fly out this morning, and she sends her regrets, and believe me, they're accepted graciously, that she even considered taking time to email us under the pressure she was under. So we're going to miss Kara. She was looking very forward to introducing you, Tom, and I know she is going to miss that. But it's my privilege today to get to introduce Tom. And I told Tom when I walked up, I said, hey, man, it's been a year since I saw you, because we met at a little cafe and had breakfast with David and talked about City Year. And I didn't know what City Year was, and you're about to find out, so I'm not going to tell you. But my wife's a Title I reading teacher, and she's taught arm in arm with some Teach for America teachers and developed reading programs. And when I found out what City Year was, we just kind of clicked, and I said, you're going to be a program. So it's taken me almost a year to get him here, but Tom's executive director of City Year of Tulsa, leads an organization with the primary goal of keeping more students in school, younger ones, and on track to graduate from high-need Tulsa public schools. He brings extensive educational experience in management, political advocacy, fundraising, organizational development, community outreach, and board of governance. Prior to joining City Year in Tulsa, Tom spent 34 years as a faculty member and administrator at Tulsa Community College, a multipurpose campus serving 35,000 students. And during the last 10 years of his career at TCC, Tom led the college as its president and CEO. So help me welcome our speaker today, Tom McKeon.
Well, thank you. It's a real joy for me to be back to Downtown Rotary once again. I was trying to think, I think this is about the 4th time that I've been the guest speaker for the club. The previous times have all been around Tulsa Community College, but the topic is still education, and it's a real joy to be here with you today. When I announced my retirement from the college about 3 years ago, I was contemplating, and my wife were thinking about what life in retirement would be. And I kept getting a phone call at the office. And finally, my assistant said, Tom, this person keeps calling. They want to talk to you. And I kept putting it off. I thought it was a salesperson. And so I finally talked to them, and they said, we're opening an executive director position, the founding executive director of City Year Tulsa. We'd like you to apply. And I didn't know anything about City Year. Went online, and I was just amazed when I saw and learned about the program, the mission, the values. And today I'm going to share a little bit about that with you. As John said, our primary focus is to keep kids in school to graduate from high school. And we serve with AmeriCorps members like Katie, who's going to be up here in a moment, 3rd through 9th grade in Tulsa. But before I make further comments, I'll have a very brief 3-minute video I want to roll to give you a little flavor of City Year and the work that our Corps members are doing in urban schools.
This was the year. The one where you learned what an A feels like. The one where you found the courage to speak up. When you realized you could grow up to be whatever you wanted to be.
But maybe it was also the year you had a hard time making it to class, staying out of trouble, keeping up. The year you had so much on your mind, you thought about not coming to school at all.
I know that in too many neighborhoods across the country, this is the story. Students bringing more challenges into class than their schools can help them meet. Not just having a hard time with their schoolwork, but with how they feel too.
Things that make it hard to graduate or to find a job, that mean never getting a chance to reach your full potential.
That's why when school starts this year, I'll be there. We'll be there to say good morning.
This is my full-time mission, from when the sun rises till it sets, to make sure that my students and their whole school are on the path to success.
I remember what it was like to get mixed up in algebra, or to get into trouble at lunch, or to lose focus with so much going on around me.
So I'll work with your teachers and your principal to make sure you get help when you need it.
To be there to help explain exponents.
To teach you some ways to calm down.
To make school a place you want to be.
Every time you see a red jacket in the hall, you'll see someone to confide in.
Someone to look up to.
Someone who's giving a year of service to be part of something big.
But most importantly, you'll see Mr. Rodriguez.
Miss Bennett.
Mr. James.
We're here to make this the year you finish your first chapter book.
The year you had perfect attendance.
The year you realize it's okay to love math.
I'm here to make this the year you start believing you can be whatever it is you want to be. This year, I'm your City Year.
City Year was founded 28 years ago in Boston by 2 roommates that were at Harvard Law School. And when we started 28 years ago, we were a general service organization. We recruited young men and women aged 17 to 24 who wanted to give a year serving their communities. And the projects we would do, we'd hold health fairs, we might paint a city building, we might beautify a park or help landscape a school. General service. And the goal was to instill the value of service in these young men and women to be leaders in the future. About 12 years ago, some research came out of Johns Hopkins and the University of Chicago that really described how, as early as elementary school, we could identify students that had a very high probability of not making it to graduation from high school. And that research focused on 4 areas. We call them early warning indicator areas. And there are no surprises: mathematics, literacy, attendance, and behavior. And so we began using strategies and interventions from this research in urban school districts, and within those urban school districts in high-need schools, and typically these would be in high-poverty neighborhoods. And our Corps members work shoulder to shoulder with a teacher, tutoring and mentoring students, again, and as I said, in grades 3 through 9. Nationally, we have over 3,000 Corps members serving in 28 cities. Here in Tulsa, our program is 3 years old. We have 72 Corps members serving in 8 Tulsa public school sites. We're in 3 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, and 2 high schools. Our Corps members are pretty amazing. To get into City Year, it's a competitive application process. We interview the Corps, and then we offer them a position to serve full-time for a year in schools. It's competitive, and I'm just amazed every time I interact with our Corps members in Tulsa, the talent that we're able to attract in our city and as an organization. City Year does not come into a city unless there's some elements that exist. And one is a very willing school partner. And I'm so pleased that Dr. Ballard is here because he was superintendent at Tulsa Public Schools when the idea of City Year coming here first was discussed. He went and toured, saw City Year in action, and became one of our immediate biggest cheerleaders and supporters. So that was one element that's important. Also, to have private funders within the community. And we were sponsored with founding funding from the United Way, the George Kaiser Family Foundation, and the Charles and Lynn Schusterman Family Foundation. Stephen Dow, who's with CAP Tulsa, was very instrumental in helping get City Year established in our community. We work in partnership or as an affiliate with AmeriCorps. One way to think about AmeriCorps would be kind of like a domestic Peace Corps. And these are what the young men and women who are serving, we refer to them as AmeriCorps members. They get a stipend. They're not employees. They're doing really service volunteer work. It's a living stipend. It's about $1,000 a month before taxes. So you can imagine trying to live on that. Many of them room together and find an apartment or a place to live here in the community. I'm so impressed that 75% of our Corps members in Tulsa are coming from outside Oklahoma. They're traveling across this nation, moving here in our community, giving a year at least as a minimum to work with students with high need in our schools at Tulsa Public Schools. Corps members can continue their year of service for a second year as a team leader or working in the classroom as a second-year Corps member. In addition to the stipend, they do receive an education award that's very important. It's $5,700 a year of service for up to 2 years that's put in trust for the Corps member, and they can use that for student loan debt or for graduate studies. Our Corps members are not required to have an undergraduate degree. Most of them do. We have some Corps members that are taking a break from college, and we also have a small number that are coming to us directly from high school. And some of our high school Corps members are absolutely some of our most amazing Corps members. In a second, I'm going to introduce Katie Mullins and let her share a little bit about why she decided to do City Year, why she came to Tulsa, and some of the work that she's doing here. One thing I also want to just share with you is here in Tulsa, our Corps members, to give you an idea of the scope, we're serving about 4,000 students in the 8 schools that we're located. And then there's a subset of that 4,000 that's a little over 900 students that we've identified in partnership with the principal and teachers in that school that need extra support in attendance, in behavior, mathematics, and literacy. And so our Corps members are spending more time with them, one-on-one time and small group time, to support them in setting goals and to help tutor and mentor them in their academic subjects. We've had great success. It's hard sometimes to say that this success was due to City Year because we work in partnership with the schools, with wonderful teachers, and we work with other educational partners, with the YMCA, with Reading Partners. Some of you may be volunteers with Reading Partners. We also have a very close affiliation with Teach for America. City Year, Teach for America, and Reading Partners are all AmeriCorps programs. The Corps members the teachers in Teach for America, they get that ed benefit. And we get federal funding through the Corporation for National Community Service to support these programs in our community. That funding's somewhat threatened right now. The budget that just came out of the White House calls for the elimination of the Corporation for National Community Service. This is an agency that was founded some 27 years ago and has received bipartisan support from every administration since. President Clinton helped establish AmeriCorps, and both President Bush's helped grow AmeriCorps. So we're very concerned about that. The elimination of AmeriCorps could be devastating to these three programs in our community. I think at this point, I would like to just introduce Katie Mullins. We want to give you some time for Q&A as well, and we want to get you out of here by your 1 o'clock deadline. So Katie Mullins is serving as a first-year AmeriCorps member at Webster High School. She's had a great experience. She applied to come back to City Year Tulsa for a second year, and we have accepted her, and she will be a team leader as an AmeriCorps member next year. Please welcome Katie Mullins.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here today. So as Tom said, I serve on the Daniel Webster High School team. I'm not from Tulsa originally. I'm actually from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so quite far away. And the reason I got into City Year is because I knew that I wanted to work in education. I knew that City Year aligned with a lot of the values I have for education. I had a hard time when I was trying to form this speech because there's a lot of things that I could tell you about, like the data that we have, or the numbers that we produce, or the individual success stories of students that I have. But I really wanted to try to give you some insight into day-to-day what my job looks like, because the larger picture is wonderful, but it's also easier to find that, whereas the insight of what it looks like to come into a school every day is a little more nuanced and hard to articulate. So for me, coming from Pittsburgh, I was fortunate enough growing up to have a really wonderful mentor. She was my middle school science teacher, and her name is Mrs. Valenti, and I owe her so, so much. And we never had like a large mentorship moment. You know, there's never a time when she did anything drastic in my life, but she did a lot of really small things for me that have added up, like showing up every day and smiling at me, asking how I was and taking the time to actually listen to my answer, making sure I knew that her room was a safe place for me to go in the school if I needed somewhere to be. And that was the kind of impact she had on me that you couldn't have seen within a year, or even 5, or frankly even 10, because I'm now 10 years out of her class, and I still think about things she said or ways that she modeled for herself to me as an individual and an adult that I could shape myself after. So everyone in this room has some kind of story like that, where they've been impacted by a mentor who's taken the time to truly get to know them. But how many of those things that happened in your life were large-scale moments like that? And how many of them were small things, something that someone said to you that, you know, they might not even remember, but you do, because it meant a lot. So in service, you know, we're here for a year, or in my case 2, and in a few other cases 2 as well. But these are our students' lives. And so as a City Year, I have this opportunity as a near peer, as someone who's only 5 years out of high school, to ask, how are you? And to say, I know what it's like, because I was in your shoes not a very long time ago. And I know exactly what it feels like to be going through this, and I'm here, because I'm not a teacher, but I'm also not a student. So I can model for you what it looks like to be a confident adult, but also take that space to, you know, make sure the students know our room is a safe place. And that's something that I think is really unique about this program, and it's part of the reason that I am so passionate about it and so happy to be with it. A student wrote a note to one of my coworkers that said, you know, you take the time to see me for who I am. Because as City Years, we have that space. And she said, I feel like I can tell you anything. And that's what the Red Jacket has come to represent to a lot of our students, because this is what we do. We come every single day, oftentimes for 10 hours a day, literally, as the video said, from sun up to sundown, to model for our students, this is what it looks like to be an adult that's had some success. And I know, because I've taken the time to get to know who you are, that you can do that too. You know, and another student told me, y'all are here every single day. And why are you always smiling? But it's true, because that's what we come, and that's what we come to do. And I had another student that said to me in kind of an offhand way, about a month ago, he said, Miss Katie, I'm done, I'm dropping out. And I said, no, you're not, because I'm here every day. And so you have to come every day because I count on you. And you know what, he hasn't missed a day in a month. He still comes every single day, and every single day he checks in with me, and then he kind of walks off and grumbles because I'm smiling at him. So the value of interactions like this are ones that can't be measured because they don't show up in our data and they don't show up in the numbers, but they matter so, so much. Like I said, I still think about words that my mentor said to me upwards of 10 years ago that she probably doesn't remember, but I do, long after I've forgotten biology vocab words or the plot of the Odyssey, although we're doing that in my class right now, so I'm going to have to relearn that one. Another important thought I want to leave you with before I go is that I serve on a team of 11 people. And any one of these 11 people could have gotten up here and said the same things to you. And then when you expand that out to the 72 core members that we have in 8 different schools across Tulsa, any one of them could also have said the same thing to you. And then when you expand that out to the 27 cities that we serve in, that's a massive movement of young people that are taking the time to get to know the next generation and taking the time to actually look at our students not as victims of circumstance, but as people, and see them for who they are and also what they can become. It's those little things that we do that have the real impact on our students. So every morning and every evening we stand in a circle with our team and we talk about our day. And every single morning our team leader starts the day by saying, "Good morning, it's Wednesday, March 22nd, and we live to serve another day." And all 11 of us echo back, and that's a beautiful thing. Because it really is. And so it's a pleasure to be able to serve, and it's a pleasure to be able to speak to you about why I care so much about the service I do. Thank you so much.
I think we have time for just a couple questions. Anybody have? Yes. The question was what 3 elementary schools that we're located in Tulsa. We are in Sequoia Elementary, Eugene Field, and Kendall Whittier. And in terms of middle schools, we're in Clinton Middle School, Rogers Collegiate Junior High, and McLean Junior High. And then the 2 high schools we serve in are the school that Katie serves in, Webster High School and McLean High School. Any other questions? Yes.
So the question was for the 11 of us that are at Webster, if we're in the same classroom or if we alternate classrooms and how the team is split up, correct? Yeah. So usually we're partnered with 1, or in my case, 2 different teachers, and I go to the same classes every day. So I'm in 3 different English classrooms with 2 different teachers, and so I rotate through those 2, but I stay for the entire period. So I get to be there every single day in the same classes with the same students. Webster's a little unique just because we have block scheduling, but typically, yeah, you're partnered with 1 teacher or maybe 2, depending on where the need is. So you really get to develop a relationship with the teacher as well as with the students in that class, and you serve kind of that dual role of being in the classroom and being able to provide in the classroom support, and then also being able to provide that before and after school support as well.
There's so much for us to be able to share with you about City Year, and I'm sorry that we're pretty much out of time. Thank you, President John, for having us here. It's been a pleasure to be your guest at Downtown Rotary today. Thank you.
You know, Tom, I envy you getting to be around that energetic youth that cares so much every day.
Keeps me up.
That would be a great job, and it's probably not a job. It's probably just a lot of fun. So thank you very much for taking that next career move, and hopefully it can extend beyond many years to come. We have a book recognizing your speaking today, and it is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Double Down. So I'll ask each of you to write a little note to the kids. We give that in lieu of a speaker gift, and we've stuffed that library full of great books. So we appreciate your contribution. Also on the screens are our volunteers for today. If you can help me give them a round of applause for their contribution. A few announcements today. We had a big meeting last week. Who was here? Oh, man, come on. You're supposed to go, woo! You know, I was here, right? That was a rowdy one, wasn't it? Well, all the rowdiness was really, for me, came down to the overtime. If you were here, you know what that means. And that's where we asked for you to take action. And the action could be to volunteer service, or it could be to give up some dinero. So here is the results of those activities. We had $100 contributed to Youth Exchange. We had $1,375 pledged to RAM. We had $1,548 to Polio Plus, $46.20 to the foundation, and $29,020 for Rotary Well. Thank you very much. On the service side, we have 6 people that pledged their interest to go to Nicaragua, 4 that want to be exchange hosts next year. We had 22 guests pledged to be here this week and last, so at least 20 of you are here today. And we had 2 new members commit, 2 guests commit to become members to our club last week. So to me, that is fantastic service and fantastic use of resources. And I must apologize, unlike Gene, we did use the accounting service that did the Oscars, and we got a mix-up of envelopes. So as a result of a last-minute free throw in overtime, we have a new champion of our 2017 RI March Madness, and it is the University of Kansas. Lynette, when you want this, you can come get it. Again, she's going to run. Congratulations to all the presenters. Thank you very much. We have some upcoming volunteer service opportunities. Saturday, April the 8th, Be Wise Immunize at the Tulsa Zoo. To volunteer, register on DACDB. I want to point out a big kudos to Bob McKenzie. If you read the Rotarian magazine, you already know what I'm talking about, but there was a great write-up on RAM. So congratulations, Bob. Kudos. And that is, by the way, an international magazine. We need City Year at Camp Enterprise, just something to put up there. This year's Camp Enterprise is not this weekend, but next, and we always have the annual steak day. There are little flyers on your table of how to get there. It is a great steak, great company, great speakers, beautiful drive. It will be daylight coming and going, and you're going to have a fantastic time if you will at least entertain a free meal. So Camp Enterprise would love to have you come down to Camp Heart of the Hills to enjoy a steak with us, but more importantly, meet our future City Year students that we're going to raise out of our Camp Enterprise program because they have the same heart. So I hope you're there. Committee meetings today, IBA Awards is plotting and planning in room 233, and the budget is plotting and planning in 234. Linda Bradshaw is still looking for some help with Fireside. She's a great organizer and a great lady. She just needs about 5-6 more volunteers, and we're going to have a great Fireside event this year. Brenda, if you could come up to the side mic. She has a couple of presentations.
Thanks, President John. Today is a great excuse to buy someone a drink of water. It's World Water Day every year on March 22nd. And it is a means to focus attention on fresh water and helping those who don't have it. Our sister club in Nicaragua gave us their flag this year when we were there, and the Rotaract Club gave us a plaque for President John.
Okay, thank you very much.
Also on your tables are MS&I workday sheets. We're going to do a workday April 15th with Rotaract this time. And that is not tax day, for those of you who think it is. But anyway, it should be a great workday, and there'll be a board meeting that day as well, so you can meet some of the members of the MS&I board. So please sign up to work April 15th. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine? Barney, you look stressed. You're good?
Poor Barney. Oh, you need to join.
I'm just abusing Barney. You know, I don't give him enough credit. I'm wearing him out. Are you going to hang in there with me for a few more months? Okay, good.
We might let you join the Sarge, the Sarge club. Okay. But before I do this, I just want to say, if you saw the video, the lines of red jackets where the kids come in and they're giving high five, that was not done just for the City Year video. I have actually witnessed that. Every single morning, these leaders line up, they high five every single child as they get out of their car or get off the bus to come into the school. And these are kids who maybe got yelled at that morning or maybe didn't have breakfast or whatever. But the difference in the kid from the time they get off the bus or get out of the car and by the time they get through that line of smiles and hugs and everything else, if they did nothing else, that would be enough for me to support them in what they're doing. So thank you all so much. Okay, sorry. Now, for those of you who are here for the money, thank you, President John, for covering me on the foundation thing. I kind of forgot that part about why we were raising money. This money that we're raising goes to Rotary International. And what we do, it's a game called 50-50. Draw a card. If you win, you get half the pot. The other half of the pot goes to Rotary International. That pot is now $4,121. So I am going to have Tom draw a number for me. Everybody get your numbers out because Barney's sweating over here.
Okay, Catherine, the bottom card is a king of diamonds, so you should probably cut the cards.
Okay. All right, and while I'm at it, I just want to say...
Oh, now it's a joker.
Okay, let's go ahead and draw.
Why don't we
now.
cut them and fan them out on the stage there, and we'll have a good deal.
So I would also just like to give big kudos to President John, because everybody who was here last week knows that he actually drew twice. He got the numbers. It was, he probably spent like $1,000 on cards. So anyway, on the tickets. But thank you for doing that, because I can tell you that Joe Moore is one of the happiest guys around right now. So he got his book. All right, so now we're all mixed up. And I will fan them out because we want to make sure it's all done. And then I'm going to tell you who.
Yeah, I mean, $4,000 isn't chump change. We probably ought to get.
So much stress. Okay, the winning number is 955-6143.
All right. Now this makes me nervous, because she is one lucky gal.
Yay! Rhonda's actually somebody who gave like a big donation to the pot at the beginning, so we'd have something to work with. So.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. All right.
Good luck, Rhonda.
Where'd you put the joker?
Draw a heart. Oh.
Okay, so it is the Queen of Clubs.
Okay, we live to play another day. Thanks everyone for attending Rotary Club of Tulsa.
Thank you.
Go out and have a great day. We're adjourned.